Okay, here we go. My name's Copyratter. Welcome to the YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about marketing and stuff. That's what I do. And this is my first time, so, be aware. This is like the third take. All of this is one take because I'm not doing any kind of sound or editing of any kind here. We're doing this on the cheap, so let's get moving. First, a few caveats. I'm a rat, okay? So I don't have a lot of money or a lot of time. I got a lot of stuff to do. So the production values that you're experiencing right now, they are not going to improve. You understand? Okay, good. So if you don't like the production value, or if you don't like my voice, or if you don't like any of that stuff, please have lots of fun with whatever other channel you go to, okay? If you're here and you want to learn, that's cool. I'm here to teach, but, it's not going to get any better, all right? All right, that's done. Here we go. Why does marketing suck right now? And it does suck. I mean, come on. You've watched, you've heard, you've seen, all right? There's a lot of things out there that are suboptimal, maybe, as what we'd call it. It does suck. It's in a terrible state. There's a lot of reasons for that we're going to go over. So when I'm thinking about this, I think it's the wrong question, right? Marketing sucks, we know. I think we all know most of the reasons, but does it have to suck, right? I don't think it has to suck, but we're going to cover a couple of reasons that it does and a couple of things that got to change if we're going to get this ship righted, so to speak. I'm a rat. I know ships, okay? First of all, we're going to go over the state of the industry. Second of all, we're going to go kind of creative versus executive, blame game thing. We're going to cover client issues because there's lots of them, and a lot of the fixes have to come from that side, at least in this rat's opinion. I mean, and then we're going to cover what's next, both for marketing and the channel. Probably more for the channel because who the hell knows what's going up next with the marketing stuff. Anyway, marketing does not, in fact, have to suck. Also, by the way, shout out to Perun for showing me that the presentation software recording thing can be used on YouTube. That makes it way easier for me. So that's the reason the channel exists. Shout out to my favorite Australian. Right. So let's get into it. State of the industry. It's pretty bad, right? Let me ask you a question. If you're watching this in a browser or on your app, on your phone, or whatever, do you have any ad blockers? Do you have any ad blockers for any of your stuff? Do you filter ads out in any way? Now, if you're in the advertising industry or marketing or whatever you want to freaking call it, and you have an ad blocker, think about that one for a minute, okay? I want you to think real hard about just that situation. Ads are so bad that people who make them don't want to see them, okay? And as people who make them, we should be seeing them. We should be watching. That's the basis of differentiation, is knowing what other people are doing, right? We can't be the same. It's good to know what your competitors are doing. It's good to know what's trending, but we don't want to see it. Nobody wants to see it. People hate us, man. And most of these are free, okay? So what you're saying is that somebody out there hates ads so much that they're willing to go do work and then say, hey, I hate ads. You can have this for free. Ain't that sad? Ain't that stupid? Man, come on. We're the only industry that's so hated that we use whatever we can find to block our own industry. It's asinine, okay? And it's kind of the result of a few things. I think laziness is a contributor here. We're getting lazy. We're not following our fundamentals. We're adopting new things without actually keeping them in the old frameworks. There's a reason that there's a right and wrong way to do things, and we're doing things the wrong way. Creative burnout, and really kind of creative migration, I think, because a lot of your creative people have gone into content on their own. Okay, they've got their own stuff they're doing. They're not coming into advertising anymore. A lot of your really creative people in advertising are either leaving or they're so suppressed by the industry that they're just not doing good work, okay? And then you have AI, and this is a placeholder for any kind of tool or something that people think is doing the job, but it's not. So now you've got, ad agency executives and clients who think that AI can do all that their creative department can do because it's shiny and it looks okay, and it's not okay. Okay, it's terrible, and there's a couple of reasons for that, all of which again owe back to the foundations. But anyway, when everybody hates ads, I'm going to make a point here. That's what this slide is about, okay? This is a Forbes article that kind of quotes a Gallup poll. It's from a while ago, but the idea that 96% of the people who are a representative sample of everybody hate ads and think they're dishonest is an indictment of what we're doing and how we're doing it, okay? If 96% of people hate what you're doing and don't trust it, what are we doing? Why are we even spending the money? Why is anybody spending the money on advertising when 24 out of every 25 people think it's not truthful? Okay, we've made this bed as an industry. There's no kind of getting out of that. You're not worming your way out of this. Okay, just by and large, we've been this navel-gazing, backslapping, lazy, disrespectful industry for a while now. It's been probably the last 15 years. Okay, maybe more. All right. And, we're hanging out in the dregs of humanity. And I'm a rat. I don't want to hang with the dregs of humanity. I got dregs of ratdom to hang with. Okay. If you're hanging out with politicians and telemarketers and car salesmen, and you're kind of in that same, vicinity, you're doing something terribly wrong. Okay. Terribly wrong. We are considered things like dishonest, obviously, but we're also considered annoying. Please see previous slide, okay? And all of that kind of combines to make us ineffective. What are we doing? It's just, you know what, I'm over it. Okay, look. If we're ineffective, all right, that's a number one reason that people shouldn't spend their money, doing advertising, all right? But to be dishonest and annoying and ineffective, that's like the trifecta. And you know what? These are symptoms. They're not problems in and of themselves, okay? They're symptoms of being uncreative. All right? We are creative people in the advertising business. It's our job to solve problems. We're problem solvers, okay? So if we're not solving any problems, what are we doing? We're sitting at a desk, staring at the internet and watching memes or something, okay? We got to do the job. We've got to do a better job. Well, actually, we have to do our jobs because it doesn't seem like anybody's doing them these days. All right? So whose fault is all of this mess? All right? Shout out to the AI slop there. Okay? Is it creative's fault? Is it account services? Is it strategy and data? Is it clients? And there's plenty of blame to go around here. All right? But fair warning, I'm biased. I'm on the creative side. And the way I see it, we got a source here. There's little things here and there, but we got a source. I'm not going to blame creative because garbage in, garbage out, right? You give us a brief and you say, hey, here's a problem to solve. But then you don't give us the freedom to solve the problem. You tell us, oh, you got to solve it this way. That's like telling a mechanic, hey, look, my transmission doesn't work anymore. Here's a spatula. You have to fix it with this. What? That makes no sense, man. You quit prescribing things that don't need to be prescribed, all right? The job is to solve a problem. Just define the problem and let us do it, okay? Account services, maybe you could take a little bit of the blame, but I don't blame my account people. They're stuck in a really bad situation. They got people underneath them and aside from them, like creatives, who work really hard and want things to be successful because we all share in that success. But they got a wall to deal with, and we'll get to that in another couple of bullets, okay? Strategy and data, yeah, I'm gonna give you a slice of this, okay? Because you got all this data, but you don't have all the data you need, and you don't tell us what we can use. Sometimes it's incomplete, and you won't even tell us it's incomplete. And I'll go over an example of that later, okay? Clients. This is largely your fault, okay? If you're on the client side, this is largely the client's fault. Now, not all clients. Yes, I know. I hear you. Copywriter, you generalize it. Shut up, okay? Just bear with me for a minute, all right? Clients, certain kinds of clients, which happen to be the vast majority of them, have caused this, okay? And I'm going to explain to you exactly how. What are you doing, okay? What are you doing? I'm going to start just calling out on the right there. Shout out to Bob Hoffman, the ad contrarian. Shout out to the Sell blog, okay? There's a couple of quotes there, and in case you can't read them, the first one says, "We don't get them to try a product by convincing them to love our brand. We get them to love our brand by convincing them to try our product." Okay? This is about there's a right and wrong way to do things, a right order in which to do things. Okay? It doesn't work the other way around. Okay? You can't raise a child until you have a child. Got it? All right? And the other one, well, we'll go over that in a second. Here's some things that, are exemplary of what clients are doing and what advertising agencies are often recommending them to do, which are wrong. Targeting and retargeting. First of all, look, I love data. Okay? Data's great. Data makes, what I do a little more successful if it's good data and I do it right. All right? Targeting people, great. You have to have a target audience. Otherwise, you're just spamming it out to the world and you don't know what's going on. But retargeting, that's another animal entirely. Okay, if you're looking for a refrigerator or whatever on Google, and you go out and you look and you shop and you buy one, and then 6 months later you're still getting ads for refrigerators, something is broken there, don't you think? It's data abuse. Okay, it's data abuse. And another thing about data abuse is this. People are collecting all this data. People complain all the time about their phones and their TVs and their refrigerators and their microwaves, listening to them, and collecting their data. Shout out, actually, yell out, scream out to Cox Media, this is your fault. People are collecting all this data. Why are they collecting it? Well, who do you think they're collecting it for? Don't be a dumbass. It's for advertising purposes. They're selling it to advertisers, okay? And people hate it, okay? The general public, 99.9% of them, hate this. Actively hate, not dislike, okay? That's not strong enough. They hate it. So stop doing it, okay? Stop the data abuse. Now let's flip it over to the other side. You've got agency roulette. If you don't know what agency roulette is, I'll tell you. Let's say you're a CMO or a VP of marketing or whatever, and your agency is pushing back on you. They're telling you, no, you shouldn't do it that way. That's a bad idea. There's better ways to do things, okay? You shouldn't do it that way. That's a bad place to spend money, man. Your target audience is going to hate it, or maybe that's not the right. Anyway, whatever they're doing, they're pushing back on you, and you don't like it because they're not feeding your God complex. So you know what you do? You put your account up for review. And then 5 other agencies come in and they pitch you all this shiny stuff. And then you pick a new agency and they take you to dinner and they do all the stuff. And then a year later, you're going, they're still pushing back. I want some. Look, your agency is supposed to be a partner, not a yes man, okay? You don't want this obsequious partner. There's no such thing as an obsequious partner. That's a slave, okay? What you're looking for is someone to confirm your God complex and tell you how great you are. And then when your stupid ideas don't work, you think, oh, it's the agency to blame. And let me tell you something, man. We understand what's going on. If your account goes into review every 1 or 2 or 3 years, every agency on the planet knows the game here. You just want a yes man. So you know what they're doing? They're pitching it knowing that they're not going to have it for long. So they're going to just milk you for money, man. And they're going to put their B or C team on it. They're going to put the guy who just does AI prompts on it. It's going to be less than stellar work. And then off you go to another client, but another agency, but they don't care because they knew they weren't going to keep you because you want a yes man. They just wanted your money. You made that bed. Lie in it, okay? The last one's buying snake oil. That gets to more what Bob's on about here, okay? There's no bigger sucker than a gullible marketer convinced is missing a trend, okay? You're buying snake oil, okay? This happens all the time. It's a cyclical thing. Video killed the radio star. No, it didn't, Then you got everything all the way up through QR codes and now AI. All of these things are supposed to completely revolutionize the industry and replace this part and that part and whatever, and it doesn't. And agencies are selling this stuff, and that's against us. Obviously, that's a demerit against the advertising industry in general that we try to, sell snake oil and we obfuscate what we're actually talking about with jargon and all that mess. But quit buying it. Quit buying it. This FOMO stuff is just terrible, especially at the CMO level. You should know better. It's part of your job to be aware of what's going on and what's really happening. Okay? Quit buying snake oil because it's killing everybody. Our industry, your industry, whatever. Just stop doing it. And AI is just the latest thing, but I can use it as an example. So let's get to that. There is no AI in idea, okay? It doesn't come up with ideas. You don't understand how a large language model works. All right? This is not generative AI that thinks for itself. Okay? Now, I asked ChatGPT in its infinite capabilities to create me a self-portrait. This is what it thinks it is. Chief idea generator. What? No, you're not generating anything. You're copy pasting things. That's what it does. Its large language models are not creating anything new, and you don't understand that. You're outsourcing your thinking to something that's not really thinking. It's just repeating it. What you got is a very, very, very well-read parrot. Okay. Now I know some parrots. They're beautiful people, but idea generators? No, not at all. And you're missing that it's a human communication that we're doing. Yes, I know. Copywriter, you're a rat. Shut up. Stay with me, okay? Human communication should involve humans. Does that sound like revolutionary? No, it's not revolutionary. It's common freaking sense, all right? Let me give you an example of this. Your Google searches are an AI echo chamber. Google's been using AI to deliver search results for a long time, okay? That's, the algorithm is the algorithm. It changes all the time, and now they're using AI to do it because you can't really make a search without getting an AI-generated result number one, even above the paid ones. Tell me how Google prioritizes that when they're like, oh no, the paid ones go below the AI, okay? Which is good in a way because that means they're trying to deliver, what you're asking for instead of ads, but I digress. The problem is that content marketers and advertising agencies and our industry in general are like, well, hang on. If the AI is the one judging the content, we need to use AI to make the content more attractive to AI. Now, I know that there's people curating content and all that stuff, but it's not all of it, okay? A lot of it's just AI-generated content. So you've got AIs creating content to please another AI. The humans are out of the process. The people are not there anymore. Okay? That's got to stop. You've got to get humans back in human communication. I mean, an AI can tell you it cares, but it can't. It's just not capable of it. All right? It just isn't. All right? And all these efficiency gains people are talking about, oh, we created 300 blogs last month. Oh, great. Does anybody remember any of them? No. They're crap, man. It's crap. You're generating just multitudes of crap. And if you're replacing your creative department and thinking you got more efficiency because you're producing more crap, well, that's true if your creative department was only producing crap. And I think a lot of these efficiency metrics and all of this stuff, all this response rates, I think there's going to be pushback. I honestly don't think this efficiency is going to continue. I think it's an illusion. That's one rat's opinion, obviously. And a lot of you data brokers out there are going to be very angry at that. And I understand that. But you got as much skin in the game as I do, so your opinion is worth about as much as mine is. So shut up. And the last thing is, look, people can tell it's AI, okay? They're not stupid. Quit disrespecting your audience. The uncanny valley is like an uncanny canyon at this point, okay? It's really, really freaking up. All right, I'm going to stop yelling. Look, you got to use your tools for what they're good at. AI is great at proofing things, okay? And I'll go into how you can use these tools in later videos and stuff like that. But again, if you treat AI is like that hammer thing, right? If you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. Well, if you're an AI, everything looks like, a copy paste content problem. Okay, it's not. We got to solve problems with ideas and creativity, okay? Stop depending on ChatGPT and whatever to do your job for you. All right, let's get out of this for a minute. What's next for the channel in general? We'll go over what's next for the marketing industry some other time. That's a deep, deep, deep thing to talk about. I'm going to do ad critiques, good ones and bad ones. So feel free to suggest them in the comments for me. I'll see what I can get to. I'm going to help you develop your creative method. Everyone's is different, but there are some things you can do to kind of recognize what your method is and maybe hone it. Your creative method is how you solve problems, man. It's how you approach that empty page or that very vague brief. It's how we are separate from like fine artists. We don't have to wait for inspiration. We can just create, right? So that's going to help you with your careers. How-to advice for creatives, that's going to be like presentations and how to kind of navigate things. From my perspective, I've been in the business for a long time, so I'm going to share some of what I've learned. I don't want to call it wisdom because I don't think much comes out of the ad industry, but that's just me. There'll be humor, such as I have humor, because I'm not very humorous, but hey, there you go. And of course, right there on the right is why I'm doing this. That's a nice slice of sidewalk pizza, New York style, with pepperoni, my favorite. Peak civilization, in my opinion. And of course, that is also AI generated because I'm a rat. Again, budgetary constraints are a thing. So that's it. That's what the channel's going to be about. That's my initial rant. Happy introductions. Glad to meet you. Glad you're here. If you stuck around this long, I'm going to take the plague fleas out for a slice of sidewalk pizza. You know, I know you guys like that. And we're gonna see you next time. So that's it. Copywriter out. Wait, live, laugh, side. You guys are freaking killing me. Stop that.